Hello everyone, I am Ben the Bold and welcome back to a new edition of Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts, where we are going to take on a naval mission and we're going to take on the power of Dreadnoughts. So in this episode, our goal is to try to destroy two powerful Dreadnoughts with very old battleships. Now, we have $50 million to do this. They are going to build two, I believe, technologically more advanced battleships than we can. We're talking more guns, bigger guns maybe, better aiming, and we are going to try to sink them. We have 120 minutes to do it. I think something really important is going to be keeping in mind that the enemy has a max 10 inches of armor and enemy has 21 knots of speed. So I've been debating, do I want more funds? Because I can get, what is this, 50% more funds to take me from 50 million to 25 million. That could be a whole nother battleship, maybe even a battleship and a half, two battleships. Or do I want to go with a boosted technology? It's going to get me plus 15 gun layout tech. I mean, it's plus 15 small guns. I mean, it seems very, very useful. Helps my gun reload time, everything. I think I am actually going to go ahead and do the boosted technology, even though that's going to mean that I'm going to build less battleships. I think my goal for the first try that I do this is to build, honestly, as big and as good of a battleship as I can, and probably only build two or maybe even three of them, and just see if I can try to keep up with boosted technology, keep up with the tech of the Dreadnought. So let us get started. I think with that said, I'm going to go ahead and stay with the Battleship 2 option. I know that if I go to like the old pre-dreadnought, I might be able to build, just a ton of them, especially if I had that extra $25 million. Let's see what I can build with the Battleship 2. Alright, so this is the design that I came up with. I think this is a fairly decent design, although with only building three of them, I don't know if it's going to be able to take down two actual dreadnoughts, but it does have some things going for it. First of all, it has 9, count them, 9 centerline guns. Now, these are only 10-inch guns, but the thickest armor they have is 10 inches, which means if we can get down to around just under 5,000 meters, we can puncture their 10-inch armor. So if we can make this a fairly close fought battle, then we can puncture them. I also have lots of 7-inch casemates, as well as even more 5-inch casemate guns as well. Those will just lay down some, hopefully maybe some high explosive fire that will hopefully, fingers crossed, catch their vessel on fire, force maybe an early sinking due to heavy fires. We will be able to close the distance between them. We are 1 knot faster than them. Their top speed is 21 knots. My top speed is 22 knots. So we will be able to get in kind of close. We do also, with a benefit of these 10-inch guns, is look how fast they reload every 22.9 seconds. That's actually almost as fast as, these 7-inch guns, which reload every 10 seconds, and the 5-inchers reload every 6 seconds. So another advantage we have is we should reload pretty quickly. Also, we have actually heavier armor than those dreadnoughts do. So while they will probably outgun us, we will out-armor them just by a little bit. We've got 2 inches more belt armor. We don't know too much about their dreadnought at this point. We just know that the thickest armor it has is 10 inches. Meanwhile, I bumped up the armor as much as I could, everywhere as I could, and I did get Krupp 3. I did not decide to pay for Krupp 4. It just was a little too expensive. Anyway, let's see what these 3 Chinese pre-dreadnought battleships can do against 2 modern dreadnoughts. Alright, so the first thing that I know that I want to do is I want to close this distance. So what I've actually done is instead of going line ahead, I've gone to line abreast formation. It's going to take me a little bit longer to get in that formation, but then we are all 3 of our vessels going to head straight at the enemy warships, and we will see what they do. As far as the enemy ships that we are facing off against, we don't have enough, we can't really see them well enough from our vessels to be able to identify them, but we can kind of just take a look. It looks like they have 3 main guns, the rear guns are superimposed. Let's see. I wonder how big guns they have. Later, when we identify them a little bit better, we will be able to tell how big of guns there are. It looks like we just got a good hit there. With that said, their guns are quite frightening as they fire. We have actually... I did get a notice that we've had a couple hits on this rear dreadnought. We're going to hopefully focus down most of our fire on one of these, light it on fire, fingers crossed, and well, let's see what happens. Okay, we have identified their dreadnoughts. Looks like this is the Siegfried, and it is, well, it's already on fire, but they have those 14-inch guns, which are not going to fire very quickly, but they are going to do a ton of damage when they hit our vessels. I've decided to focus fire on the Siegfried. I've switched to high explosive ammunition. I am just trying to get lots of fires to break out on deck. However, if I look, they have also done pretty well against our battleship, the Gong. We are a Chinese battleship. And they have only fired shots so far towards the Gong. And so far, the heavy armor on the Gong seems to be actually holding its weight. And we can see that it actually has similar damage capacities to the Siegfried. Alright, it looks like the Siegfried is having none of this. It seems to have decided that its best bet is to turn away. It is suffering now from lots of fires as well as some engine troubles as we continue to just pour fire downrange. I have switched to line ahead formation. I've been allowed, they've let me get into this nice little half moon arc where I can just pour fire into their vessels. This has been actually very, very successful so far, and as you can see, the Siegfried is having none of this. That is not great for them. They have decided to start to run away. I might have to switch to line abreast to give chase. Or switch to, what is that? Line abreast to give chase. You can see that we're not getting any penetrating hits, but what we are getting a lot of are those, with the high explosive ammunition, a lot of fires. So they are turning away. Their engines seem to be in a not the greatest shape. I might go... I hate to give them any kind of reprieve, especially since we are just continuing to pound them. But as they turn and run, I might have to switch my focus onto the Sachsen, however you want to pronounce that. Looks like they're going to get a good shot off here, but end up missing perfectly. Perfect. And with their 14-inch guns, it is going to be quite some time before they are able to get another shot off. Let's go ahead and bring our battleships a little closer. So far, I think this is actually going really well. If I can sink the Siegfried or just destroy it due to its structural damage, then I can, of course, concentrate all my firepower on their last dreadnought, which would be huge if we could have a 3-to-1 advantage. I really think that's the only way we can take down their dreadnought. Just look at the amount of fire that is just pouring out of my ships. Just volley after volley. I think it was very useful to increase the technology because it's just allowing me to reload so much faster, and I am just pouring shots into their vessels. Now, they're not doing much damage at all, but they are starting fires and causing some structural damage as well as really ruining their engines. In fact, my engines still seem to be doing okay. The Gong's top speed still seems to be performing relatively well. It's going at 15 knots, which isn't amazing, but it's also not as slow as the Siegfried is at the moment. I might try to close a little bit more. Meanwhile, if I can sink this vessel, if I can narrow this down to just those three 14-inch guns on the Sachsen, then I think I have a very good chance at winning this. Uh-oh, we have had a bad development. Our trailing battleship at the rear has taken a couple big hits and even had one of its main guns destroyed. It is on fire. We continue to pour shells downrange, but their battleship, their dreadnought, does not go down easy. I'll tell you what, I just keep getting alerts about different parts of this ship that is on fire, that has been destroyed. I'm destroying their fire controls, I'm destroying their turrets, I'm destroying their funnels, but the Siegfried refuses to go down. Again, I have plenty of time to complete this scenario as long as their leading ship doesn't get any good hits. I think this is going to go well. Man, look at this. They do get a shot off. It looks like they're going to miss. They get a shot off. Oh, that hits hard. But look at this. I love this kind of like geometric shape that I've made here where just this half moon, they are just pounding the Siegfried as it has got to be close to its end. Look, I've sped up the video a little bit, but just look how cool it looks just to see these vessels just absolutely pounding the Siegfried into submission. And indeed, the Siegfried has sunk. I repeat, the Siegfried has sunk. We can now focus all of our attention onto the Sachsen. And I think these 3 battleships might actually just be victorious. We need to go ahead and try to close with them, though, and we need to close quickly. I know that we have switched to high explosive ammunition, but we are only about 45 or 43, sorry, 4.3 kilometers away, which means even our farthest away battleship can actually still penetrate the hull of the Sachsen. So hopefully, as we continue to just be able to pour more and more rounds down frame, we'll start knocking out some of their big guns, and knocking out some of their big guns will hopefully mean that they won't have any more volleys like that. Are they going to get any big hits? No, it looks like they're going to miss. The just constant rate of fire seems to be overwhelming their 14-inch guns, which just can't reload fast enough. Oh no, this is potentially huge. They have just gotten a very lucky shot off against one of our battleships, knocking out a main gun, it looks like, as well as lighting a fire and causing some flotation damage. Hopefully our bulkheads will be strong enough to limit the flooding, but this is big. We might be in trouble if we start losing battleships. They do have the advantage. So we need to make sure that they are kept afloat and can continue. We really need to knock out some of their guns. I have left it at those high explosive rounds, trying to start fires on their deck, because I really feel that that's our best bet with the size of guns that we currently have, although I'm getting a little nervous about our ability to win this. We will see. Their battleship is getting dangerously close to ours. Look, we are just a mere, what, about a kilometer away. That's actually, I think, going to work out better for us because our guns only penetrate when we're a little closer. If they were smart, they'd try to keep their distance. We have caused them to have some engine damage, so I don't think they'll be able to outrun us. Unfortunately, we do not have any torpedoes. I decided to build these ships without any torpedoes, mostly just to save weight, because I was starting to, with the ship that I wanted to make, I was running out of space. Maybe some torpedoes would have come in handy here, but we have actually gotten a couple big hits. We're not knocking out the 14-inch guns. Those 14-inch guns are still in play, but I do think that we're going to be able to do this. We'll have to see. If they get lucky and can knock out the Shinryu, then this might be a different ball game. But from where they are now, we are actually going to go ahead and start to cause some flooding. Just the sheer number of shells that we are firing down range is hugely important here. I think we're going to do this first try. We have a new lead ship, the Arenti. I'm going to pretend that that is how you pronounce that correctly. And I'm going to go ahead and curve you this way. Stay nice and close. Stay nice and close. Just keep penetrating. Now, they are also going to have a hard time missing with those 14-inch guns where we are, so we really do need to knock them out. This is huge if we can do this. The gong is right in the line of fire. We did just penetrate their main tower. Look at all those little warnings. Now, none of these are doing a ton of damage. In fact, their armor is keeping most of them from penetrating. A lot of that is going to be because we are rocking these high explosive shells, but those high explosive shells do cause fires on deck. And sometimes it's the fires on deck that do the most damage, and that's kind of what we're relying on now. It just lowers the efficiency of their vessel as a whole. We're not going to be puncturing through their armor with their smaller guns, but we are going to be causing lots of just damage, havoc, and causing those fires. Fires are good. I like how we are just shooting right. Oh, and did they miss? They did. It's going to be quite some time before they can get another volley off like that, because those 14-inch guns reload so slowly. I like how our kind of rear battleship, which does seem to just be kind of stuck in the water, has decided that it's going to fire right over the gong and try to come in here. It's going to get a few good hits. I'm actually going to go ahead and change this rear battleship. No, it's going to stay at high explosive. But the gong, I think I'm going to change to armor piercing. Let's just see if we can puncture through some of its armor while we're so close. They are so close to just having so much structural damage that they won't be able to stay afloat any longer. We've destroyed some main towers. Hopefully we're puncturing through their armor as we speak, especially with the gong. I don't think that they can keep up with us speed-wise. We shouldn't have any trouble staying right there with them. Of course, their 14-inch guns are still frightening, but they can't get off that many rounds compared to what we can because we invested heavily in the ability to reload very quickly. Looks like we're going to cause a little bit more flooding towards the rear of their ship, and we are just going to pound them. They got a point-blank range shot off at the gong, but seem to have missed. Meanwhile, the gong seems to be hitting on all fronts, and indeed, their dreadnought has sunk, and the Chinese Navy, with their 3 older, outclassed battleships, has won the day. Congratulations to them. That means we did it in one try. We have completed the power of dreadnoughts. It was no match for us. In our next episode, we will our goal is going to be to defeat a heavy battleship with a battle cruiser. I'm really looking forward to it. I hope you decide to tune in. If you do want to watch, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you are made aware when or so that you can see when I post the next video. And if you like today's video, go ahead and like it. Anyway, I will see you in the next one.